A lovely good morning and welcome to the Camnet Breakfast Show. Today being a Monday, the 17th of December 2023, we are coming to a close of the year, and it is that time of the year when people love partying and talking about Christmas as well as the festive season, New Year itself, and you just have to make sure that you take care of yourself to avoid not making it to the 2024. However, this is Patrick Soko, your usual host, and I'm not alone. I am with Nelson Zulu on a Monday like this. We are keeping it positive. Good morning, Mr. Zulu.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Soko. I was even wondering, why is it backdated? 17th of December. It's supposed to be the 18th of December.
18th.
We've got 4 days to go in
Yes. I'm trying to remain in 2023.
Why are you trying to remain in 2023?
No. We have to go forward.
We need to go forward, yes?
Yeah, indeed.
Yes, it's an exciting week. I, for myself, I did enjoy the weekend. It was full of football, if you're a fan of football like myself. Well, despite having a disappointing result against Manchester United. Yeah, but it is what it is.
So you mean you go for Liverpool?
Yes. Yeah, we had a good game. I think, yeah, but a stalemate was better off after all, better than losing
Keep comforting yourselves while the elephant is back on the tree.
Well, we don't have to worry about the elephant. What if we are also trying by all means just to keep a bit of motivation for the elephant so that they keep on pushing? Because and then at the later stage we strike, because we never walk alone. Because
the elephant may just shock everyone that it may stuck on that branch.
Well, I don't know how true that is, but maybe in the words of Dix and Jerry, we're yet to see what is likely to happen, but we are title contender as it is.
Interesting. So talking about the games that were taking place over the weekend, and my team, Real Madrid, also did manage to beat Villarreal by 4-1, and that was an interesting encounter also in La Liga there. Interesting games also did take place over the weekend, and we'll be looking at those games a little later pertaining to how they were over the weekend. We'll look at La Liga as well as the English Premier League, so that we just get you updated regarding some of the games that were taking place as of yesterday. And interesting enough, we have to move on, Nelson, and just have a look at our first segment, which is the Health Corner with the doctors.
Good morning and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakobiana Mfaya. So this week we are going to be talking about a common condition that is very prevalent in our communities, and recently we have had a lot of people committing suicide and taking their lives all because of this condition. So we'll be talking about depression, and we want to understand what is depression and what how does it come about, what really causes it, and also what are the signs and symptoms of depression. Then we'll also look at how can you help somebody who has depression, or is there treatment for depression? Can it be treated in the hospital? So we will look at all these things this week. So today we will look at what is depression. We want to know exactly what is depression. Depression is a mental condition that is characterized as a mood disorder. So it's a mood disorder that affects the way somebody feels and the way that they respond to their environment and to other people as well. So it usually comes about by several factors. So there are several factors that can predispose someone to have depression. One of the major things is the personality of a person. So if there are people who might have low self-esteem, and they might have pessimistic approach to life, and they might have the tendency to become depressed. Then there are other people who might have depression due to having a traumatic experience in the past. It could be a sexual abuse or traumatic experience, or any other trauma that might have occurred in their lives, maybe early in their lives or in their childhood, or it could be even in their adolescence years or later in life. So a traumatic experience can cause someone to go into depression. Then there are people who might have depression because they are having a chronic illness. So chronic illnesses like diabetes, hypertension, having a stroke, having cancer can cause you to have depression as you are managing these conditions, because sometimes it might be very overwhelming for you and you might feel like you're becoming a burden, especially if you have stroke and you're not able to do certain things for yourself. You might end up having depression. Or if you have any of these other illnesses like diabetes, hypertension, you might feel overwhelmed with the effects that it comes with in terms of taking care of yourself and having to restrict yourself from doing or eating certain things, and so you might become depressed. So people can become depressed through several factors, and so these are just some of them. The other thing is people who abuse alcohol can easily become depressed as they are abusing the alcohol. So alcohol abuse can also lead to depression. So these are some of the things that can predispose people to have depression. And so we'll talk about some of the causes tomorrow. Make sure that you watch tomorrow as well to be able to learn more about the causes of depression. So today we talked about what depression is, and we say that depression is a mental condition that is characterized as a mood disorder. So it's a mood disorder that affects the way somebody feels and the way they respond or react to their environment. And it can come about through several factors, such as having a personality that is more pessimistic, or a melancholy type of personality, or even having a traumatic experience in the past that might have led you to have depression. It may also be as a result of having a chronic illness, having alcohol abuse, or abusing alcohol. So I do hope you have learned something. Make sure you watch tomorrow, invite your friends and your family as well. And if you missed any other episodes in the past, you can always catch up on my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Nakubenamfire. I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care and God bless.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nakubiana Mufwaya. Just trying to run us through in as far as issues of depression are concerned. It is also that time where someone gets to be depressed, because it's at the time of the year when if you don't have money in your pocket, you feel you are not happening. So you try by all means to look ways, Carol, and then you find yourself in some trouble. You begin now to have some sort of self-inflicted depression. But moreover, we'll be looking forward to tomorrow when she'll be taking us through in terms of what are some of the causes of depression.
Indeed, yeah, this is also the high time when people want to drink and drink, and also demonstrate that they can be a buyer, especially this festive season. So to avoid depression, also you've heard, Nelson, that the alcohol is among the causes of depression. Make sure that you keep yourself safe and don't drink to death. No. They always say that responsible alcohol consumption. That's if that even that term really exists, because only a few people understand how to consume alcohol responsibly. That's the belief people have, and that tends to affect their lives negatively. So that is something that we need to have a look at and pay attention to as this festive season comes. And this is the season that equally comes with a lot of road traffic accidents, because people are drunk, people are excited on the road, and they forget that they are carrying people's lives, and they are reckless on the roads. Hence, we tend to see a lot of accident pertaining to this to the festive season. So this time around, we are asking that let's drink responsibly, and let's not drink and drive, and make sure that you arrive at your arrive alive at your destination. Otherwise, if you do not take precaution, the chances are high that you may not arrive alive. So make sure that you just do the right thing, and make sure that you protect other road users and protect yourself on the road, because this time around, when we're talking about road accidents, it is very dangerous, especially pertaining to the eve of New Year itself, the eve of Christmas itself. People are excited, they are moving all over drunk. But you know what? We don't even understand the reason for the season, because the reason for the season is to give and reflect on the birth of Jesus Christ, and spread the gospel, or spread love. But sometimes we tend to spread death, because at the end of the day, you do not take precaution, and some of the consequences have proven to be there. So that's about the festive season. Let's make sure that we keep safe by observing all the road safety and traffic regulation. Now, let's get to understand how the kwacha is performing this morning.
The United States dollar buying at 24 kwacha 61 ngwe and selling at 25 kwacha 9 ngwe. The euro is buying at 26 kwacha 91 ngwe and selling at 27 kwacha 44 ngwe. The Great British Pound is buying at 31 kwacha 34 ngwe and selling at 31 kwacha 96 ngwe. The South African Rand is buying at 1 kwacha 35 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 37 ngwe. And if you remember, on a Friday we closed at somewhere at the kwacha was selling at 25 kwacha flat. And as we begin the new week, there's some sort of an increase with 9 ngwe. And remember that these notes, they vary from bank to bank. This is as updated at exactly 7:08 this morning.
Yes, today being the 18th of December 2023, we are going to look at some of the stories that we are making the headlines in our main news as of yesterday. We start with the stories that we got pertaining to the former president. Let's have a look at those stories first of all, Nelson, where we had the former head of state petitioned the courts last week, and later on we saw the former Kabushi constituency lawmaker Boma Lusambo coming to his defense.
And is not broke.
That is not broke. And you know, people were just blowing issues out of proportion, you know, say, no, why is he claiming that? Why? He said he understood the consequences. But you know, it's difficult to gag people's perceptions, even if they are not accurate sometimes, you understand. But let's have a look at these two stories, and we'll be back on the other side. We have interesting stories. And remember that the annual failed engineering project is exhibition has equally commenced in Lusaka, and we are seeing a lot of flooding in a lot of communities. So we are going to be looking at some of the stories there pertaining to floods in our communities. So let's look at these two stories, and we'll be back on the other side, and we'll be getting your views and contribution on the program later on when we come back. Keep it on Camnet TV.
Because politicians sometimes are useless. We are useless sometimes because we think with our egos, not our brains. The things which is happening in our country today, you can even see that they are not using their brains, they are using their egos. You can even see that. So bakapokola ubupuba bwesu former politician imwe muchulilemo. Why?
Saturday, 16th October 2023, former Lusaka Province Minister Bowman Lusambo held his last press conference for the year 2023, where he tackled a number of issues ranging from politics to economy. The former Kabushi constituency lawmaker defended former President Edgar Lungu's bid to have his retirement package reinstated. Mr. Lungu has filed a petition before the Lusaka High Court to reinstate his benefits as former head of state that was taken away last month following his public announcement that he has reverted to active politics. The matter has attracted divergent views among members of the general public, but Mr. Lusambo says Mr. Lungu worked for the money.
President Edgar Chagwa Lungu is just claiming what belongs to him. Give Caesar what belongs to Caesar. That's all. Okay? That's all. So, na tuishiba ishimirandu shiri mukoti barepo ayo kulolekesha po twalanda pofe pantu ama Zambians na chiramona pa social media yo president na chitanani na di broko ima president Edgar Chagwa Lungu kuti aba broko ine shiri broko how president Lungu abe broko ine shiri broko na kwa taredi yomu ina redi all over president Lungu.
Meanwhile, Mr. Lusambo has implored the United Party for National Development UPND administration to look beyond the International Monetary Fund program by finding local solutions to economic challenges the country is confronted with.
No, by for Zambia, no muntu kukwata $50,000 mulandu mwebantu. No, but ni country ya shani. Nishtwala ikala shani. Inso yeskula yafye ubwali na kapenta. Enchito yesu. Ifyo tafya bombe yo. Tatwa sumine ukutwale chalo chesu chibe a begging country. We want our people to invest in our economy. We want our fellow Zambians to have money. Ama Zambians ngabakwa tempia nish government ya kwa tempia.
However, it is worth noting that Republican President Hakainde Hichilema has been wondering what the PF would do, which they failed to do in 10 years.
People forget how they brutalize citizens. And when they say, "Alewe up," I said, what? To come and do what? To continue the lynching.
But the political bulldozer claims that the greatest opposition of the current administration are the people who are feeling the negative impact of the high cost of living.
And I've challenged the police, give me one rally. Say Osaka, Central, Copper Belt, Inefyeneka, not at Shan, Inefyeneka. And I will show you that UPND is nowhere to be seen because the people of Zambia, they have already decided.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
It all started from this angle of things.
Kapokeni nkalata ku cabinet abantu balebifwaye kwe tulefwa n'ensala lekeni bafirwa baleka okumilipira muye kukyawama request ero ine nakulala ndapo every day kapokeni nkalata ku cabinet ilemu atwala titamulimu wama politics akuntula chule insala chule nina ifwe tujoine.
30 days later, a conclusion was made, leading to mixed reactions from the public.
Hear this. Therefore, after a careful and deep reflection and wide consultation, including prayer, following naked efforts by those in power to annihilate the biggest opposition party, PF in Zambia today, the PF, using their stooges and institutions of governance, I have decided to return to active.
But it is back to square one in the courts of law as the former head of state is challenging the withdrawal of his benefits. This is after the Lusaka High Court permitted Mr. Lungu to file a petition during the Christmas vacation challenging the state's decision to withdraw his benefits following his political comeback, and his petition is seeking a declaration that the withdrawal of his pension and other benefits on November 1st, 2023 was discriminatory, unconstitutional and illegal. The former head of state is also seeking an order declaring that Section 2 and 5(1)(b) of the Benefits of Former Presidents Amendment Act No. 21 of 1998 are unconstitutional and now void, to the extent that they are inconsistent with Articles 20, 21 and 23 of the Constitution of Zambia. Further, The former head of state is seeking an order to be compensated for the loss he suffered resulting from the alleged unconstitutional withdrawal of his pension and other benefits as conferred by the Benefits of Former Presidents Act. On Thursday, 15th December 2023, government, through the Attorney General, rejected the plea by former Republican President Edgar Lungu to have his benefits reinstated following his public announcement of returning to active politics. Attorney General Mulilo Kabesha cited Section 5, 1 of the Benefits of Former President Act, Chapter 15 of the Laws of Zambia, which prohibits the payment of benefits to a former president who is engaged in active politics. According to his petition filed in the Lusaka High Court, Mr. Lungu wants an order directed to the Attorney General and the Secretary to Cabinet to reinstate the pension and other benefits unto him and order to assign him a furnished executive house built or bought in Zambia by the state at a place of his choice as required by Section 4A of the Benefits of Former Presidents Amendment Act No. 21 of 1998. The former president is also seeking an order to award him damages for the violation of his constitutional and fundamental human rights to freedom of expression, assembly and association, and not to be discriminated against on grounds among others of political opinion, and payments in form of interest on the amounts found due and cost incidental to the proceedings. Mr. Lungu also wants an order restraining the Attorney General by his agents, servants and employees from infringing his fundamental human rights and freedom. In the affidavit verifying petition before the court, the former head of state submits that his return to active politics is purely not to become president again, but to defend democracy. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka. Indeed, another story that is has taken the Zambian society or Zambian people by storm, as they've been told now that the former president rather, is seeking the benefits to be reinstated after he announced that he's returning to active politics on the 28th of October 2023, 30 days later after that push by Mombi Piri to say, can you return to active politics on the 29th of September 2023, and that those talks that have now emerged to say what exactly really happened, because this is a person that told us to say, you see, I'm ready to go or undergo the consequences that do come with forfeiting my benefits.
Indeed, that is an interesting story, Nelson, there. And we continue getting views and comments, though not subject to matters that may be prejudicial, but they are just on the surface. And in case you have a perspective pertaining to some of the stories we have looked at, we've looked at our first story pertaining to the former head of state and seeking his benefit. He has petitioned the courts. And in case you have your perspective on the matter, you are free to call us. The phone lines have been open and we want to hear your opinion. And remember that you just don't have to call us. You can always leave us a message on our Facebook page, and we'll be glad to hear from you, our dear viewers, wherever you may be. And also tell us where you are watching us from, so that we can get interacting and get the conversation going. And right about now, interesting stories also, Nelson, that we had over the weekend coming. One of them is a story where the group of retired KCMX miners have continued to sweep at the Lusaka Intercity bus station in a quest to seek audience with President Hakainde Hichilema for the non-payment of their 50% retirement benefit. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News Sunday morning, Group Chairperson Rafael Mobanga says the group has continued to be domiciled in Lusaka until the President addresses their issue. And we have another story where several houses have been left flooded in Lusaka's Chawama constituency due to diverted drainage, which was abandoned before completion. The affected residents have told the Camnet News that the rains, which were experienced Saturday night to Sunday morning, flooded their houses, leaving household goods soaked. One of the affected residents, Esther Nguni, says the unfinished drainage has flooded water into their houses in an occurrence which has never been witnessed in the area. So let's have a look at this story, and these two stories rather, then we'll be back on the other side.
The group of 2019-2020 third KCM ex-miners claiming 50% of unpaid retirement benefits have vowed to continue sleeping at Intercity bus station in Lusaka in a quest to seek audience with President Hakainde Hichilema. The over 100 ex-miners claim they were enrolled on a retirement package which required them to contribute 5% or 10% of their net pay, with an agreement to receive a lump sum after retirement. The workers, however, say were surprised after retirement only to be paid half of the benefits, later forced to sign an annuity agreement by KCM Board of Trustees, where they would be receiving in small amount of 200 kwacha or less. This reporter Sunday morning caught up with some of the 16 miners who have come to represent the group in Lusaka at Intercity bus station, where they are spending nights.
Ifo chilengero ko bati twambye okulachula tule moneka ma destis kwa tetwagomba pone nchito mulandi wa company lesu pantuna batulekeresha tabatuperi ama dues yesu eyo twabombere umuntu wonse ngabomba balasti afuya kwata ama benefits yako
ni mine accident omba mwewe kala cyaro okubika kufena mwewe neba president. Are you sure kuti na luso okuboko aka left index finger kashara pamaini nendala mentionale uchudira mukuchula ti mukuruisha ti mbombeshe na kwata mine accident yakakaputuka na shoshare pamaini na ba KCM.
The ex-miners laments that all officers where they visited have placed the responsibility of assistance on President Hakainde Hichilema if they are to get their benefits.
Kuliba Beatrice Mutambo Mutati wale twebati shimpia pakuti mukashipoke kanofyeba president bakachite authorized kwebati bapeni ndalama ngatakuli ba president ukuingiramo ishishindalama tamwakashipoke nalo batweba mashibu yakwebati ishindalama ko twasamika ichimuti chadirepa sana so abenga samuna fe kuri ichimuti ni ba president so turelomba kuri ba president batusamuine kweshindalama ko basamika
echo tulelomba bena vale tupatikisha nokweba ati tusaine ama annuities pantu indalama shaba kuri ba benikoni ayo ma company yabo so yaliama ngatwafumya shirendalama shaya kusanira mu insurance iliya company batwe bati ukulingana na Beatrice ifyale tulondolwela iliya company yaba president so balefwa ya tukafumya ndalama tukayebike ndalama mu account yaba president.
Efforts to get a comment from government chief spokesperson Kones Mwetwa proved futile as at broadcast time as his phone went unanswered. For now, these ex-miners who came into Lusaka on Monday 13th of December will continue spending nights here, hoping for a favorable answer over their arrears. For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka. Short drainage works in Lusaka's Tawama compound Sunday morning left several houses flooded. The drainage, which has been diverted at Cheshire Homes, was abandoned on the middle of nowhere, and after heavy rains Saturday night and Sunday morning, it burst into houses. The floods have soaked household goods and food items, with affected residents calling on authorities to intervene in the matter.
Lero mvula yamenya loka lero yaleta vimanzi vonse kuno kusaiti nye vimanzi hivyo vinikondemo vino vumene muona koza manyumba ya roba manzi chite ni manzi yonse so manzi yachoka kujona wati yakwela kuno manye drainage yabwanja vina lapanga kuno zaka zonse kuchokera pali kaunda ufika lero pano tikaliera ndirepo manzi batayaona lero kutiseweresa komene bachita sanga kumbe drainage yamene lipena nchito kuti ziteletera manzi kankhala zaka na maezi kuno sitima nkhalako na manzi ya so kamba kamforo amene ujabana kumba kuno manzi yangena manyumba izi vindu vaononge unga wanaka elo unga niwatula ni 300 mwaonaka.
The situation has left fears of spread of waterborne diseases as some septic tanks and toilets were overrun in the flood.
I've been affected for many things. As you can see, the furniture, the doctors, the phones, and even the appliances, they are all damaged here.
Ndio fasule kuja basta divert drainage iyi yamene watipangira iyi ilibe use kuno because sifu niko ngadira kuno and at the end of the day is just affect fence iyi izakwera abana. So this is the problem that we are facing here. So already almost about 10 to 15 houses yamene yankala mu months vindu vaonongeka.
Chawama Ward 3 area councillor Ponsiro Piri, however, says the drainage works have not been abandoned and the contractor will be engaged to ensure the situation is avoided.
Work has not stopped. That if you check in Chawama Catholic Church Road, there are some works which are being done there. It's the same contractor who is doing the work. You know, so I think they are doing the work. Even that road which where the Chawama Catholic Church is situated, they are doing some work there. If you're the reason why it has caused the area that side to be flooded is because they haven't put the carpets there. You know, when you do they do the carpets there, they need to make sure that they even work on the road. So I think this is something that we just have to urge the contractor to expedite, because as we receive more rains, I think our residents will be affected, as is the case today. I think I even received some video clips actually of the houses that have been flooded.
For now, the residents have blocked this area where the water was overflowing and can only hope that authorities will intervene soon. For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
There you have it. That's the flood exhibition that we were talking about, Nelson area. I think this is just the beginning of the confusion. And we are just wondering to say, last year we were doing the same things. And we were doing the same things over and over again. Why don't we learn from history?
And the disheartening fact is that even as much as we're doing the same thing over and over again, it's not the same resources that are being channeled out. You find that maybe previously the resource was much higher than the way it is, meaning that you're going to be doing something without solving a problem, which is really hectic. But, well, hopefully the local authorities will be able to come to the aid of those that have been affected by the floods, because we've not even yet started receiving heavy rains. What more? The time we shall have heavy rains.
Indeed, if you have been affected by these floods, you can equally tell us how is the situation in your area, so that we can get to know. So this is Lusaka, and that was Chawama area there near Chawama Police and near Cheshire Homes, where we had that incident. We need to go back to Kamara South, where the problem was there, especially last year. Let's hope this year there's an improvement, or there are some works that have been undertaken to help the people in that community. We have a caller. You are through to the program. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Your name and where you're calling us from?
I'm calling from Sparta.
You can go ahead with your contribution.
Thank you very much. On your breakfast, may you include this tweeting of the social media? The Mukula logs.
The Mukula logs.
Could it be because the reason why they even removed the roadblocks? Maybe at least try something.
We'll be following up, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for that heads up, Nelson. Is it that we are seeing a lot of Mukura trade? Is it the reason behind the Mukura trade? Our caller there is asking. We need to follow up. We need to interrogate this issue.
Definitely.
We can only just
speculate for now.
Yeah, for now. So, but that's an important question that is asking, and we hope to follow up. In case you also want to join the conversation, you can do so and give us your comments and contributions to pertain to issues affecting you in your localities. And some of the stories that we have zoomed in this far, we've looked at stories pertaining to floods and stories pertaining to the former head of state, President Edgar Lungu, who is seeking his retirement package. And we saw that Bowman Lusambo, the former Kavushi lawmaker, was actually defending his bid, saying he is entitled because he worked for it. Nelson, do we have any other stories there?
Yes, let's get to peruse through some of the stories and also get to usher our guest in for the day. Some of the stories that we're also looking at is the Lusaka City Council demolishing more makeshift structures behind Big Mose Market at Kamwala Trading Area in Lusaka. The demolition comes barely 2 weeks after the authority brought down about 100 structures near Universal Church. The land in question is believed to have been sold to a Chinese national, according to some of the affected traders. And another story also that we get to look at is the European Union granting Zambia 5.8 million euros to undertake the national land audit and technical assistance to land governance management systems in the country. The two projects are part of the large program called European governance support, which aims to improve Zambia's business environment. And another story that also we get to look at is that of Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Dr. Elijah Mchima, saying government will prioritize United Party for National Development members and the vulnerable in awarding land whenever it is available.
The displacement of poor Zambians trying to make ends meet has continued. Barely 2 weeks after the Lusaka City Council demolished more than 100 makeshift structures in Kamwala near Universal Church, another group of traders trading from Kamwala's Big Mose area have suffered the same fate. Lusaka City Council Assistant Public Relations Manager Bulumba Nyambe says the structures were built on privately owned land without permission from the council or the landowner.
The shops were built on privately owned land without permission from the owner or the local authority. The demolition follows a court order that was obtained by the legal landowner. Thereafter, an enforcement notice was issued by the council to the squatters to vacate the premises. The operation was conducted between 01 hours and 06:30 hours to restore law and order and to prevent further encroachment on the land. The officers had no choice but to remove these illegal structures that were posing a threat to public safety and order. The traders were operating without licenses and were also not paying any tax or fees to the council.
Some of the affected traders say the council could have notified them before moving in to demolish their stores to enable them salvage their merchandise. The land in question is believed to be owned by a Chinese national. These helpless traders wonder why government has put the plight of foreign nationals first instead of its people.
Vambiri vantu mabusiness niyamankogodo pesa simaloni elo manje mwevangenera so vatira matia gas
mashopu vapwanye panisa vaibirana vanhu and then manje makatundi ane vapereka kuta tigurisa almost the same tizazi vabwanji kuti chinchanga ichisichanga tizazi vabwanji vachirekerera va government titapapata imirira mponi mutanzirire vantu government tirira vagani nkombo nyuma munabwera pa ground especially vagani nkombo vanabwera pa ground ndiye vanatiuza nituza wanaisa emphasize kaziripirani tiripira kukanzu manje tizaenda kuti mu street vanapisha mashopu yanetinazimangira teka vapwanya tizaenda kuti fe
Kamwala vatipwanyira mastandi mashops yatu and then 42 vapwanya without manotice not pasa manotice vabwera che usiku kupwanya na katundu vatenga manje tizasevenza bwanji tizangala bwanji ingani number last year tikungo kamba hapo kupe boma yamene mushtalau maforeigners vabwera va state ya kilini takamba talema katundu lelo manje taruza
Meanwhile, area councillor Mindus Matam has apologized to the affected traders, further assuring that he will do his best to relocate them within the market structure soon as he comes back from a working tour in Chipata.
As area councillor for that area, I should have been informed by Lusaka City Council about their intention to carry out demolition. I would have been given an opportunity to engage the marketeers so that we can minimize the losses. As things stand now, a lot of people have lost property worth millions of kwacha at a time when livelihood or living is very, very difficult. Continue to engage with the marketeers to see how best they can be relocated and accommodated within the same market.
This comes a week after Camnet TV News carried a story where some traders whose stores were demolished near Universal Church accused the local authority of misplacing their merchandise.
Ndalama shaona hiki hapa shamba tiro shitwale chitana na katundu imbi ya toa imona kuimona po ya diluka so chabe. So tuli affected sana. Twalile ku civic center bambi katundu tatoa imweni. But wala ndati katundu nseli kwisa civic center.
For now, their lives are stranded and their hope is that they'll be able to start over soon. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
Thursday, 14th December 2023, the government of the Republic of Zambia and the European Union launched 2 new projects to support Zambia's land governance and management systems. The 2 projects will cost 5.8 million euros. The National Land Audit Project attracts a grant of 3.2 million euros, while 2.3 million euros is for the technical assistance to Land Governance Management Systems project. The two projects are part of the larger program called European Governance Support, which aims to improve Zambia's business environment. European Union Ambassador to Zambia, Caroline Stasiak, emphasized that the joint projects seek to provide essential data for the future land governance reforms.
Modern and internationally recognized and inclusive legal framework, which we heard earlier, and a clear institutional setting is important to ensure equal treatment of all citizens, and particularly women and youth, with regard to access to land and to avoid any land-related conflicts and disputes. Promoting an efficient, coherent and transparent land administration will increase stability and security in land tenure and reduce transaction costs. This is crucial, as we have heard this morning, for potential investors and for local private sector, as land remains an important collateral in access to finance. And this will in turn contribute to a more efficient domestic revenue mobilization.
Minister of Lands Elijah Muchima says the project could not have come at any right time than now, when the government seeks to improve land administration in the country.
It is critical to address unauthorized land use changes that occur without proper environmental impact assessment. As government, we expect that a land audit will facilitate the creation of comprehensive roadmap for the audit's execution by providing a holistic and well-informed approach in land administration. The objective will be to develop a robust methodology for auditing land tenure and monitoring land use dynamics in these critical zones. Poor or ineffective land administration and mismanagement of land and natural resources lead to conflicts, mistrust, and degradation of environment. Land audit generates information that will facilitate informed decision-making for the government.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
They can never even look at you and have said, if there will be any plots in any council, I will favor first UPND people and the poor person. That I'm going to do it. For 10 years, you must also have a share, but we shall look after the poor people, the poorest of people, the women, the widows, PF are thieves. PF have been thieves. Within 10 years, see how much they have been rich. I've been here in fact since 1973. There were no such houses. I've been in parliament, I'm almost going to 20 years. I haven't reached the stage these PF people have become. Even if they're saying we want to come back, they want to come and finish you all.
Those are some of the stories that we're zooming in, and issues of land wrangles as well as displacement have been topical in the country, even as we come to a close of 2023, as we are almost there in terms of jumping over to 2024. But what has to be done currently? What are measures being put in place? And just to help us understand all issues surrounding land governance here in Zambia, we're joined by the Zambia Land Alliance Executive Director and Mr. Patrick Musole this morning. Good morning, Mr. Musole.
Good morning, thank you. Good morning, viewers.
Your first reaction to the last two stories that we played, we've seen the EU coming to the fore, to the party, with about 5.8 million euros in terms of land governance, and we've also seen Minister of Lands and Natural Resources indicating that, if anything, we shall prioritize the UPND members when it comes to giving them land.
Well, first and foremost, I think as Zambia Land Alliance, we are very happy to see that our long-awaited, our long cry, we've cried for a land audit for a long time, because as you are aware that you need information for you to make informed decisions on how much land to give, how much land is available, and so forth. And for a long time, we've actually been guessing. We've had estimates such as state land increasing from 6% to somewhere about 30%, customary land reducing from 94% to 70%. All those are rough estimates, and we've been making decisions based on these rough estimates, which I think is not the right thing. And finally, we have a land audit that has been launched, and we are confident that this is a very positive development. It will inform us as a nation how much land we have, how much is under customary, how much is under state land, how much is available, how much is in use, and so forth. And that's information very, very important. Much more important, I think we also need to think in terms of posterity. How much of this land should we use now to meet our present needs, and how much of it should we keep for future use? Because our children and our children's children will need this same land. So that information is very, very important, and we are very positive. We are looking forward that to the implementation of the land audit itself, and also to see how it is going to inform decisions and plans going forward. So we are very, very happy about this development. On the statement by the Honorable Minister of Lands talking about prioritizing UPND cadres in allocating land, I think he was addressing political cadres, because that's unconstitutional. The Constitution of Zambia is very clear. Land shall be accessed without discrimination. And so we can't talk about first prioritizing party line or party cadres. I think that I'm hopeful that he didn't mean what he was saying. He was just playing to the gallery.
Interesting. Now, we understand that coming back to the first process pertaining to the European Union, how important is that that project encompasses the effective participation of Zambians and Zambian-led organizations like the Zambia Land Alliance itself, and the traditional leaders and people, key stakeholders, to ensure that the process is owned by Zambians and that people do not perceive it as a foreign program?
Thank you so much, Patrick. I think, as you rightly said, we are talking about Zambian land here. This is our land, and we need to take control of this land in terms of managing it, in terms of monitoring it, in terms of auditing it. We've waited for so long until we accessed this funding from the European Union. I wish we could have done this much earlier. I think and I believe that we have adequate resources to support and fund this program. I don't know why we had to wait for the European Union, but we are grateful for the support of the European Union that have come on board to bring the resources and the technical assistance to do this. But I think, like you rightly said, we would like to see Zambians on board to do this, because we need to be in charge of this process for purposes of sustainability, because after the experts have gone, we will remain to manage the process. Will remain to deal with whatever issues that are going to come out. And so it's important that Zambians be part and parcel of this process, because it is our land. Most importantly, this is Zambian information. We are talking about Zambian information that must be kept by ourselves. And so involving partners to come and support us is good, but there's a risk that some of our information will find itself beyond our borders, and which might pose a strategic risk in one way or the other. So I think it's important that as these consultants have been engaged, Zambians are going to be part of the process, and we hope that this information will be safely guarded and protected by Zambia itself.
Interesting. Well, our dear viewers, in case you're just joining us, in conversation we have the Zambia Land Alliance, and we have been joined by the Executive Director, Mr. Patrick Musole, and we are discussing land governance. And later on, our dear viewers, you can will be opening the phone lines in case you want to join the conversation. You can do so and give us those questions pertaining to land governance in the country. Now, Mr. Musore, there has been another concern that has been coming to say land now is becoming a preserve of the rich, and in the near future, Zambians may not have land that to talk about, because it may be in the hands of foreigners. Because you see that, for example, you'd find someone owning a small house, the following day they sell this house to a foreigner, and they build a mall, or they build a big house. and that person is displaced to a village or somewhere. But again, you'd find that most Zambians are not able to buy land, even from their fellow Zambians. Most of them are not able to. So those with the money who are coming outside the country are able to do so. How can we improve on that aspect?
Thank you so much, Patrick. I think we need to regulate the land sector. We know that there are a lot of real estate agents present who are actually escalating and exaggerating the prices of land. And that's part of our problem. So we need to ensure that the Zambia Institute of Estate Agents does its job of ensuring that only registered real estate companies are involved in this business. It looks like it's a land is a low-hanging fruit where everyone who wants money will quickly go into land. So the proliferation of these real estate agents has contributed to the problem, in the sense that they have flooded the market and they've gone out to acquire customary land illegally, some of them, and they are selling it at exorbitant prices, where bare land with no development on it, no services, is fetching very, very high prices, which is unacceptable. They are pushing, distorting the market prices of land. I think the real estate agents have to do something, and we'd like to urge the institute, Zambia Institute of Real Estates, to actually up their game and monitor this sector, because the presence of illegal estate agents is not helping matters. But also, I think it's the concentration in the city. Most of us want land in the city. And in the rural areas, under customary land is still affordable away from the city. And I think if you want land, go into somewhere in Mumba, go into other places, you actually find land which is affordable compared to the prices at which land is going in Lusaka. So land is still available, except if you want it along the line of rail. In the cities, it's very expensive because of the pressure. All of us want land in the city, and according to the laws of supply and demand, that pushes the prices up. So I think we need to manage the land sector.
Interesting.
Another issue that has also been topical is the issue of land titling as well as registration, where we've got some residents, they might be occupying this land maybe for even years, and then someone will just come and pop up and say, I've been owning this land, I've got this title. We've got all these disparities that do come into place when it comes to issues of titling and registration. How well do you feel this issue should be managed?
I think we haven't managed our titling and land registration properly, because before we brought in what is called the systematic land titling program, or the national land titling program, which is being managed by Medici Land Governance, we had the system that was demand driven, where if you wanted your land to be put on title, you simply apply, and then the town council would come in and send surveyors, come and survey it, and process your application and get your title. That's the normal process. Now that normal process is actually still ongoing. It's still ongoing, and it's being managed by the government of the Republic of Zambia through the Ministry of Local Government, or the town councils, or the Ministry of Land itself. Now, that system is extremely slow. It has not helped at all. Because one, it is slow in the sense that a lot of applications are not processed on time. Secondly, that system, I think there are a lot of irregularities, where you have two titles issued on the same land, and that can be explained in two ways. There are two possibilities. One possibility is because of land information system which is not integrated, where the Ministry of Land has their own set of information, the Ministry of Local Government or the Town Council their own set of information, and that can result into this kind of replication. But besides that, there's also a possibility of corruption, where land which is on title will actually have another title issued on the same land. I think we have a case in Kitwe that was reported to me just 2 days ago, someone reported that a land that has a title that was issued in 1980, someone else came up with a new title on that same land. How do you explain that if not corruption or poor information management? So that is a challenge. But then we also have a lot of state land which is not documented. For example, most of the schools and hospitals don't have titles. Most of them. It could be more than 95%. If there are schools that have, government schools and hospitals that have titles, there are very, very few. You could count them on your hands, fingers on your single hand. You may remember that there was a case not too long ago about a developer that was accused of putting up a filling station on school land. The truth of the matter is that the school may not even have any documentation as proof of ownership of that. Of course, the government then used their power because it was the government minister, I remember, who was very, very strong about that case. The truth of the matter is that that land on which government institutions is sitting is not documented, and that's a big problem. We also have a lot of land, like in informal settlements, which fall under the jurisdiction of town councils, but it's not on title. So when the government saw that they are lagging behind in terms of registration of land, they hired a consultant in the name of land governance to help document that land. And so that's how the National Land Titling Program, also called the Systematic Land Titling Program, came in. So that one is the old type which they are using is the sporadic, where they would only go where the demand is made. So under the Systematic Land Titling Program, what Medici Land Governance is doing is moving into a town and targeting certain areas and beginning to systematically title those areas. Those are areas that were already on state land but had no documentation, and so all they are doing is normalizing by issuing certification or certificates of titles to those people. Of course, there are challenges. Some of the challenges, because we're talking about these informal settlements, the land is not properly planned, and so the roads and all those things are quite confused, and they are having to negotiate and find their way on how to work this out. And I think so far government through Medici Land Governance has made some progress in terms of speeding up the titling process. This year I think their target was 60,000 titles, and they're somewhere in the range of 40,000, which is about just under 70% achievement of their target. So they've made progress in that direction. But in the sporadic titling system, the old system, they are way behind schedule, and we have a lot of state land which is not documented.
Has the same inconsistency in terms of land registration as well as titling led to making it easier for foreigners to own land in Zambia? Because locals, there's some locals that have been complaining to say, why is it so easier for a foreign national to own land in Zambia when in other countries it's very difficult?
I think that has to do with the fact that our current laws and systems do not provide an advantage to you as a Zambian. So land has been offered to everyone on the same level. So when you, a Zambian who has no access to finance, have to compete with foreigners that are coming in with probably cheap loans from their countries, you can't compete. It becomes very difficult because they're coming with a lot of money. Some of them are coming with loans from their countries. Some of them are just being funded by the countries to come and acquire land. It becomes very difficult for you as Zambian who is not funded to acquire land, unless we put in place measures that will support Zambians to give them an advantage so that they are not discriminated or they are not disadvantaged when it comes to acquiring land comparing to the foreign nationals that are coming to seek land in Zambia.
So, looking at the same land ownership, how do we then make sure that are the current rules sufficient to make sure that, for instance, especially foreign investors only access land through locals? Because how would you describe this anomaly, Mr. Msole, where a Chinese national is administering land to a Zambian? when such a thing cannot happen, I think, in Beijing?
Well, I think what you are describing is a symptom of a problem. It's not the problem. What's the problem? The problem is the law. So we need to deal with our laws. If our laws allow foreign nationals to come and acquire huge tracts of land, they'll come and buy as much as their money can afford and begin to sell it to Zambians. They can do that. Our laws allow them to do that. So we need to deal with our laws. And that's where the problem is. Currently, our laws do not select whether you are a Zambian or you're a foreigner. You can acquire land, any amount of land, and you can hold it for 99 years, which some of us as civil society organizations have strongly opposed. That you cannot give Zambian land to a foreign national for 99 years. For what? Even if they are an investor, what investment needs 99 years for it to mature? We don't have such an investment.
What years are you proposing?
I think our proposal is that maybe 25 years would be good enough. That is tied, or it's tied to the lifespan of the investment. If, for example, it's an investment that's 30 years, then we tie the lease agreement or the lease period to that, so that they can be given a lease for 30 years. So we think that would be okay. But even the amount of land, you cannot give unlimited and huge tracts of land to a foreign investor. We need to limit it. Yeah, I mean, gone are the years when half of Lusaka or a third of Lusaka was owned by one person. Because at that time, that was before independence, what was the population of Zambia? It was very, very small. Now the population of Zambia has grown and it's growing very fast. So we need to think in terms of reducing the amounts of land that can be given to an individual. Because we are having population pressure due to fast demographic growth, and so we need to plan in terms of how much land do we need for our own people, our present and the future people, Zambians. We need to plan in those terms. So we need to deal with our laws so that our laws can address how much land can be given to foreigners who want to come and invest in our country. What kind of lease period should we give to foreigners? All of that is in our laws. Currently, our laws are silent, and a foreign investor can come and acquire land on the same terms as yourself, Patrick.
Now, we understand that among interventions that we were talking about when organizations like yourselves and citizens in general were advocating for the enactment of the new land policy, and the advocacy lasted quite a long time. And we saw the land policy coming to effect. But my question would be, is this national land policy sufficient to be able to tackle some of the challenges? Or what are some of the lacunas have you identified so far in the land policy?
Thank you, Patrick. I think one of the national land policy did not meet the expectations of most of us, because we had made proposals during the advocacy period, during the development period. For example, the Lands Act of 1995 has provision for converting customary land to state land, but there's no reverse process. And we are saying that at this rate, if we continue in this direction, what is going to happen in the long term? All the customary land will possibly be converted to state land, and we'll end up with one tenure system. And I think that will have an effect on our customs, on people, on customary land, and so forth. So we were advocating for a reverse provision. For example, if I acquired customary land and I converted it for a certain project and I failed to implement that project, that land should go back to its previous state, to customary land, if I fail to do that. Or at the end of my project, that land should go back. But under current law, there is no such a provision. So if I convert land, customary land, to state land, it will remain state land, whether I succeed with my plans or I don't succeed, or even after the end of my project, it will remain state land. So we advocated for that to be included, but that was not brought on board. We had advocated actually for the actual reduction of land sizes for foreign investors. Of course, what came out is a general statement which says that there should be a reduction of the amount of land for foreign investors. So it came out in general term. Also, I think there's provision for reduction on lease period, it is also there, but no specifics that have been placed. So we need to come up with the specific legislation that will deal with the figures, the numbers now. So the land policy may not be perfect, but it has some progressive provisions. It has provided for affirmative action for land ownership for women. 50% of land should be owned by women. It has provided for affirmative action for land for the youth, 20% of land to the youth. It has provided for reduction on the eligibility age for acquiring land for the youth from 21 to 18. If a youth is able to vote, they should be able to acquire land in their own name. So it has a number of positive provisions. I think our big issue is implementation, and that's where we need to focus on. Zambia has a number of progressive provisions in our laws and policies. Our problem is implementation. We fail to implement them. As a result, a good law is equal to no law if not implemented.
Another progressive arrangement that we have pertaining to the land audit that will be taking place, of course, is because we are going to ascertain and know the amount of land that we have as a country, and everything, and also taking into account other natural resources. How important is this aspect pertaining to natural resources such as watersheds, let's say the forest reserves, because of the current system, you can go and build a house in a forest reserve because you don't even understand, and probably even the local authority has not taken an interest in that same matter. So now, how will that process also help us pertaining to that issue?
Thank you, Patrick. The land audit is going to provide us with information on knowledge of what we have. And I think it's generally said, knowledge is power. When you have information, when you have knowledge, it gives you the power to make informed decisions. But it's only as good as how much of it we implement. We can have the knowledge. If we don't use it, it's of no use. We can have the information. If we don't use it, put it to good use, it will not help us. So when the process is complete and we are given information about our natural resources, about water recharge areas, about all these things, it will still come back to implementing. For example, who didn't know that Forest 27 is a protected area? We knew it. Who doesn't know that all these other forests are protected areas, water recharge areas? We know it. How do we protect them? Do we preserve them? That's the issue. So it will still come back to implementing and putting to good use the knowledge that this process is going to give us. So it is an opportunity. It is an opportunity for us to make informed decisions. For a change, at least we can make good decisions that will help in enhancing the development, first of all, protection of natural resources and development of our country.
Then another interesting subject I want you to also tackle is the issue pertaining to the Zambia Railways and the Lusaka City Council, for example, and all other councils that are along the line of rail. We are seeing that people continue to go closer and closer to the railway line. And you see before we introduced you, Mr. Msole, I'm sure you were privy to that story we played, where council officials were demolishing the council officers were demolishing the makeshift structures that they are saying they were illegally put there. But now, I know you mentioned the issue of implementation, but how important is the aspect of proactivity for us as a country to address this issue? Because those people who are building houses along the line of rail, it will become a political matter, and they will be saying, compensate us. If you remove us from this place, you will not vote for you, and the illegality continues. But how important is it that we are proactive in implementing the current laws that we have?
Yeah, I think that's a discussion we've been having with our colleagues from the councils. We've been asking them, why do you wait until people finish building for you to go and demolish? Are you so bad-hearted? Do you want people to lose their money? They say, no, we actually don't have enough manpower. That's their excuse. And I think that the council must be deliberate in recruiting the right type of manpower to ensure that they have enough manpower to be proactive not just in demolishing, but in preventing illegality. I think illegality can be prevented. The same with Zambia Railways. That illegality can be prevented. The problem is we are not proactive. We want to wait until an accident happens, then we will swing into superdrive mode to try and demolish things. I think we need to make prevention a priority. So we have laws, we have policies. Our problem is poor implementation or lack of implementation. And that's the case with those structures. When they were being erected, the council was there. Why didn't they stop those people before they use their little income to put up those structures and then they come to demolish? So I think that's an issue that the council needs to deal with, the same as other railways. We can prevent these things so that people don't have to, we don't have to lose lives, so that people don't have to lose their money which they've invested into those developments.
The rapid increase as well as urbanization has also led to some sort of informal settlements. We're just talking about the demolition of market structures at the Kamala Big Mose market. Aside from just implementing some of the laws that do exist, what are some of the remedies that should be put in place to ensure that both parties that are affected are also not at pain?
Yeah, I think talking about urbanization and as a driver for population increase, creating pressure on the land resources that we have in the city. I'm not sure where we are, but the Ministry of Local Government, I think a few years ago, was developing what they call the National Urbanization Policy. That policy was aimed at taking development in the rural areas so that we create urban areas in the rural areas, so that we provide amenities and facilities in the rural areas. We provide opportunities in the rural areas so that people don't have to come to the city for them to get jobs. And I thought that was a very, very wonderful policy. I don't know where we are. I need to check with the Ministry of Local Government. I don't think that policy has seen the light of day, but it was a very, very good policy. And I think it is in line with the presidential directive of giving contracts under CDF to the local people in the rural areas, so that the local people in the rural areas will have the contracts and be able to, whether it's making furniture or whatever contracts that need to be done, they are done by the local people. So if that policy was adopted and implemented so that we provide social amenities, we provide facilities, we provide shopping malls, or at least good shops in the rural areas, people would not want to come to the city to look for employment because they know that they have opportunities right there. And I think that's a good direction to take development to the rural areas. Then we would actually have people staying there because they have opportunities in the rural areas. Because I think that's what people want. People don't just come to Lusaka to come and congest Lusaka. They come to Lusaka because they have hope that even if there is one job, that might be my job, and they would come to Lusaka. So if we took opportunities in the rural areas, I think that would help in decongesting Lusaka.
We've had instances, for instance, in Namayombe area of Chilanga, where people are actually in conflict when it comes to who should be the rightful owner of the land, because the said piece of land has got about 4 titles. And these 4 titles have led to court processes being initiated by both the parties that are involved in the case. But however, the complaint has been there's no transparency as well as accountability in how land issues are resolved, as well as how the land and administration of title is done. How do you promote transparency?
While you are responding, I know we came up with the land tribunal. How effective is the land tribunal?
Thank you so much. I think one of the solutions to your questions is what Patrick has given. The land tribunal is a court that was designed to fast track land cases, because I think there was an acknowledgement that the normal court systems are very slow, they are overburdened with other cases, and so we need to create this special court to expedite land cases. Unfortunately, it was not sufficiently equipped. For example, the Lands Tribunal has had part-time judges. Okay, these are not people that are full-time staff. They only come to attend cases. But also, the Lands Tribunal has been a revolving court. Okay, today they decide we are going to Northern Province and be in Kasama to attend to court cases in Kasama. So everyone that has land case in Kasama is supposed to bring it to the provincial center. Now, not everyone has access to go to the provincial center. So access to this court has been limited because they've only been rotating and going to provincial centers. And so access to it is limited because if the court can only sit at a provincial level, how about all the cases that happen in the districts? So I think we needed to equip it sufficiently with full-time judges and also ensure that they go beyond the provincial centers. So in that sense, the Lands Tribunal has not been effective because of the way it's been designed. So we needed to give it more people, more judges. We needed to take it further to the provincial levels where it's been ending. So it hasn't actually achieved the well-intended goal of resolving land conflicts. And that's how come you have so many land conflicts happening. As to why we have multiple titles on the same land, I think I said at the beginning, either it's corruption, where people give title on land which is already entitled, or poor information, lack of information. But how can that happen? Because our information is supposed to be in one place. But of course, the Ministry of Local Government have their own set of information, the Ministry of Lands have their own set of information, and they are both making decisions over the same land, and we end up with that kind of chaos. So to have 3-4 titles on the same land is unbelievable. But I guess if it's happening, then it's surprising.
Mr. Mzora, as we come towards the end of our conversation, I also wanted to ask this important question. We see people mostly rushing to always convert their customary land which they have acquired to state land. Should people be able to trust that they can always have their land under customary tenure?
Patrick, we have a challenge. As Zambia Land Alliance, we support the dual tenure system. We want to have the state land for those who can afford it. We also want to have customary land for those who cannot afford state land and want to stay in the customary land, so that the two tenure systems can work. The challenge we have under customary tenure is that it's highly insecure, okay? Because it's not documented, it's not registered. So the only documentation which government has facilitated is that there is a land register. So when you go to the head person and you've acquired land somewhere, customary land, your name will be entered in the village register as one of the people in that village. But that village register does not have information on the size of land that you have. It doesn't have information on the location of your land. It doesn't have information on the boundaries of your land. So, which makes it very, very risky, because someone can come and encroach on your land and you have no proof to show that this is your land. And that's why Zambia Land Alliance and other partners in the land sector have been supporting chiefs to issue customary land documents or certificates, which should show the location of the land, the size of the land, the boundaries of the land on a document. And we are still advocating for that. But that one has not been widely accepted by all the chiefs. Some chiefdoms have embraced it and they're issuing these documents to their subjects. Other chiefdoms have not accepted it because they think that it's a step in the direction of the title. So we have people owning land with no proof of ownership. Now, that is a challenge, because when an investor comes or when you are being displaced, you have no proof that this was my land. You have no document, and so that becomes a problem. Secondly, there's a new dimension to it. Chiefs now, today, chiefs are displacing their own people from customary land and selling the land to people with money. I have reports, we have reports from Mpongwe, from Masaiti, from Mukushi. This is happening where chiefs are moving their own people in order to sell the land. And the people have nothing to show for that land, especially when the push is coming from the chief. They have no proof of ownership. And that's why people now want to have a title, because someone on title cannot be pushed anyhow, be it by an investor or by the chief. And people want security of tenure. So I think it's for this reason that as Zambia Land Alliance, we are pushing for legislation of customary land, so that even our Royal Highnesses, the chiefs, cannot just be pushing people anyhow. They need to respect certain people's rights, because chiefs hold that land in trust on behalf of their people. It's not in their own behalf. So the chiefs are supposed to protect people. That's why when we talk about investors displacing people, no, an investor cannot displace people. The investor will only displace people if they've been allowed by the chief and the government. Because no foreigner can come and kick me out of my land. But when those foreigners connive with the chief, they connive with government, they come with a title over the land on which you are, then you have no choice but to be displaced. So I think our plea is to the chiefs, our plea is to government to protect Zambians from displacement.
Thank you. Mr. Msori, as we wind up, we would allow you to give us your concluding remarks.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to come and share or discuss land governance in Zambia. I think I want to appeal to Zambians. Please, Zambians, if you are called a Zambian, it's not just the name or the flag. It is land. Zambia is a piece of land. As it is linked to your name as a Zambian, get a piece of land. Have it secured in your name. So, my name is St. Patrick. Please get a piece of land somewhere. Have it secured in your name. Get a piece of land. Have it secured in your name, because you shouldn't just be called a Zambian by name. You need to be called a Zambian because you have land. Zambians, you have the right to your land. It is your birthright as a Zambian to own land in Zambia. Let's not wait until people come from outside, they take our land, then we start crying foul. Meanwhile, the whole time we were just watching this land. And then when it's taken by foreigners, then we start crying foul. This is our land. You have the right to this land. Let's acquire this land. Let's create wealth out of this land. We have a lot of wealth in this country, not just from minerals, just from agriculture on this land. The challenge I want to give to the youth, we have a land policy that gives you affirmative action of 20% of all land to the youth. But are you youth, you guys, I believe both of you are youth, are you ready to take up this land? Or we are busy fighting for you and you're not even interested because you want to stay in the studio. So that's a challenge for me I'm throwing to the youth. Youth, the policy is favoring you, acquire this land, create wealth out of this land. That's a big asset that you have in this country. Thank you.
Well, even as we come to a close, let's also look at some of the comments and get to appreciate some of those that are viewing us from our Facebook platform in Kingsley Majira, all the way from Mazabuga, who's been with us and saying, may God bless you all. We also have got a comment from Zondiwe MP II, who says, good morning, Patrick and Nelson. Good morning to you, Zondiwe. This issue surrounding the drainage in Chawama pretty much borders on us, the citizens. We have a sickening propensity of throwing garbage in drainages. This trend is proponent to cholera, and soon we shall have jaw-dropping numbers of cases hovering around that area. You can now have fecal mixing with water and flowing in people's homes. Issues surrounding the trade as well, I feel for them. The economy hasn't been favorable. People are vulnerable. Good morning, folks. And I think those are comments that we had from our Facebook platform, and wherever you are giving us comments from, either our YouTube channel as well as through calls and text messages, we do appreciate. But on a Monday we have to end it just like this. It has been Patrick Soko and Nelson Zulu discussing all things Zambia land effectiveness as well as the policies that are there. And in studio we're joined by Mr. Patrick Msole from the Zambia Land Alliance, just to help us understand all these issues that do surround the land issue in Zambia. Do still make a date with us tomorrow, but for now it's bye for now, and keep it on Camnet TV, not just another channel. Remember, Camnet TV is your #1 community TV station in the country.